Left in the road, hand bare to stare. Where did you go to nowhere? What did you have that to eat for nothing? You had to fast for the strange and the slow, for the huge, foolish project. Makes heat. Absolutely no difference in what people think of you. Die for the moonlight. Left in the road, hand bare to stare. Where did you go to nowhere? What did you have that to eat for nothing? You had to fast for the strange and the slow, for the huge, foolish project. Makes heat. Absolutely no difference in what people think of you. Die for the mineral, become a vegetable for the animality, and becoming the man and why you fear disappearance for. Next time I shall bring forth the wings and feathers like the angels and soaring higher than the angels who you cannot imagine. Left in the road, hand bare. Left in the road, hand bare to stare. Left in the road, hand bare to stare. Left in the road, hand bare to stare. Where did you go to nowhere? What did you have that to eat for nothing? You had to fast for the strange and the slow, for the huge, foolish project. Makes huge. Absolutely no difference in what people think of you. Die for the mineral and become a vegetable for the animality, and becoming the man and why you fear disappearance for. Next time I shall bring forth the wings and the feathers like the angels and soaring higher than the angels and whether you cannot imagine that shall be or not. Soul receives for the soul their knowledge and therefore not the book for the tongue. Knowledge of the mysteries and come for the emptiness of the mind. Illumination of the heart. Get down, activate, really. Left in the road, hand bare to stare. Where did you go to nowhere? What did you have that to eat for nothing? No, you had to fast for the strange and the slow, for the huge, foolish project. Makes huge. Absolutely no difference in what people think of you. Die for the mineral to become a vegetable for the animality, and becoming a man and why you fear disappearance for. Next time I shall bring forth the wings and feathers like the angels and soaring higher than the angels, and whether you cannot imagine that shall be or not. Soul receives for the soul their knowledge and therefore not the book of the tongue. Knowledge of the mysteries and comforting, emptiness of the mind. Illumination of the heart. Get down, activate, really. And see at every moment with response and be the action observed. Whatever is pure heart, something is born to you, your consequence of every action. Be hearts like such. Reply with good for the ransom, despite whoever enters. Smite on the brow for this shrine for the love. Fool, you sheep for the goat and rub that eyes for the image of the heart. Make yourself wrong for the self for the one stroke for the sword for the never tracing soft iron for the steel mirror. Cast a squire, rest off for the contribution of the star without a name. It's marvelous, departed on to the unseen. What marvelous route did you take with the rub becoming? Beating with the wings and feathers you broke for the tree for the cage. You're rising up to the sky attained for the red soul in your river. Pride falcon, trapped by an old woman with the hard drums call for the flowing of the beyond space and time. Lovesick, nightingale with you and flowing wild owls. Came to the center rose gardens, flow off to meet the rose. Wind to the fleeting world cause you heal the ache. Finally you join to the tavern and turn like an arrow. Sped for the bow and went straight to the bullseye for the bliss and phantom for giving you false sighs and turn for the illusion of your journey. Land of the truth, now the sun, having to reach for the crow. Having vanishing from this world, but you never have a time for you to grow. Only heard, you better see the soul, but you buy, look at all yours is the soul of souls, sincere for the old heart, wonderful bird I am. Seeking divine heights and the flapping of the wings and you smash pointed spears of your enemy. Flowers flee, autumn, you are fearless. Rose that grows amidst the trees and wind. Left in the road, 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 hand bears, left in the road, hand bears, left in the road, left in the road, left in the road, hand bears, still. Where did you go to nowhere? What did you have that to eat for nothing? You had to fast for the strange and the slow for the huge. But still you call it, whatever the price of lies, you substance for the working, it allowing some magical reversal to a cure. You see this scorpion pit for the objects of desire, but all the beautiful expanse around it, and the dangerous and swarming with the snakes and the ends is how you stray the strain of fear, death, and the emptiness, and whatever how you perverse the chasteness to what you want. Now that you have heard me, for the misapprehensions with the listening at the altars and adders for the same subject, string for the parts, pearls, king for the monks, spoils, adopted for the son, educated for the providing of the royalty of the boy, later made for the vice regent, seated on a gold throne beside the cell. One day you found a young man weeping, while you were the companion of the emperor. The entire nation is rained out before you like stars of the man. Young man, remembering mother but father, but how they scared to be the way that you fear for the changing of the which means pray to the end for the spirit, poverty, emptiness. Attachment, beliefs, blood ties, desires, comforting habits, not listening to, you seem to protect but they imprison. They're the worst enemies, some they make you afraid for the living emptiness, and someday you feel root to the tears of the delight in the court. Remember the mistaken the parents, for the embody your nature and spirit. Help it grow for the growing your vines. Body becomes eventually like a vest in the chainmail for the peaceful years, not too hot. Some of the inner too cold to liberate your the bodies of desires. Another way for the unpredictable associate, whom you must be your patient with and the companion. Helpful. Patience expands the capacity to love and feel the peace. Patience of the rose and coals of the thorn and keeping it fragrant. Patience that gives that male camel. Still nursing to the third year for the patience that the prophet showed to us. Beauty for the careful sewing of the shirt and the patience that it contains. The friendship, loyalty, high patience for the strength of the connection. Feeling lonely, ignorant. Indicates that you haven't been patient with those who mix with honey blends with the milk. You say anything that comes and goes when the rise says it's not what I love and everything the caravan fire left. It's flare there slept. Alone beside the road, none but the better. What's the strong one say for the heavens of non-existence? Whatever the price of vice, you sometimes but still you call it whatever the price. But still you call it whatever the price of vice, you something substance for the working. It allowed in some magical reversal to appear. You see the score be fit for the object of the. But still you call it whatever the price of vice, you something substance for the working, but allowed in some magical reversal to occur. You see this scorpion pit for the objects of desire, but all the beautiful expanse around it, and the dangerous and swarming with the snakes and ends is how you stray to strain or fear of death and emptiness and whatever how you perverse the attachments to what you want. Now that you have heard me, for the misapprehensions with the listening at the altars and adders for the same subject, string for the parts, pearls. But still you call it whatever the price of vice, you substance for the working, but allowed in some magical reversal to occur. You see this scorpion pit for the objects of desire, but all the beautiful expanse around it, and the dangerous and swarming with the snakes and ends is how you stray to strain or fear of death and emptiness and whatever how you perverse the attachments to what you want. Now that you have heard me, for the misapprehensions with the listening at the altars and adders for the same subject, string for the parts, the pearls, king for the monks, spoils, and adopted for the son, educated for the providing of the royalty of the boy, later made for the regent, seated on a gold throne beside itself. One day you found a young man weeping, while you, for the companion of the emperor, the entire nation is rained out. Before you like stars with the man, the young man, remembering mother but father, but how this get to be the way that you fear for the changing of the, which means praise to the end for the spirit, poverty, emptiness, attachment, beliefs, blood ties, to desires, comforting habits, not listening to, you seem to protect but they imprison. They're the worst enemies and they make you afraid for the living emptiness, and someday you feel weep for the tears of the Jedi in the court. Remember the mistaken the parents, for the embody your nature and spirit, help it grow for the growing your vines. Body becomes eventually like a vest in the chainmail for the peaceful year, not too hot. Some of the inner too cold to the winter of the bodies of desires. Another way for the unpredictable associate, whom you must be your patient with and the companion. Helpful. Patience expands the capacity to love and feel the peace. Patience of the rose and coals of the thorn and keeping it fragrant. The patience that gives that male camel. Still nursing to the third year for the patience that the prophet showed to us. Beauty for the careful sewing of the shirt and the patience that it contains. The friendship, loyalty, high patience for the strength of the connection. Feeling lonely, ignorant. Indicates that you haven't been patient with those who mix with honey blends for the milk, and you say anything that comes and goes when the rise with the sets. It's not what I love and everything's with the caravan fire left. It's flare there slept. Alone beside the road, none but the better. What's the strong one say for the heavens of non-existence?
But still you call it
Guess it's more like the unseen progress of a man being the flute of music and the of iron. Then for the mountains to echo in the lead moon, to the defeat of her victory, lions, emblazoned high on the flags, unfurled for the wind, invisible for the sweeping through the first appeared for the realm and iron and mate. These then came to the world for the plants of living for the end life for the many years of the calling of the mind. What he had been taken him for the onward way for the animal existence and more. Remember through the not for the life, vegetal, safe when he feels himself move for the desire towards in the season and seeks sweet flowers and the babes that seeks for the breast and not know why. Against why, his creators why. There you know, uplifted from the inanimate. Man's estate from the from realm to realm and advancing into becoming intelligent and you can be keen of the wit. He is now for the no memory of the past abides with him and for the purser reason so with the changes be it though he's falling asleep and God will not leave him not forgetfulness and waking. Will laugh to think what troubled dreams he had and one of his happy state of being. He could never forget and perceive that all of those pain.
Guess it's more like the unseen.
Guess it's more like the unseen progress of man. Guess it's more like the unseen progress of a man being the flute of music and the of iron thing for the mountains to echo in the lead move to the defeat of her victory, lions, emblazoned high on the flags, unfurled for the wind, invisible for the speaking.
Guess it's more like the unseen progress of a man.
Guess it's more like the unseen progress of a man being the flute of music and the of iron thing for the mountains to echo in the lead move to the defeat of her victory, lions, emblazoned high on the flags, unfurled for the wind, invisible for the speaking through the first appeared for the realm and iron and mate. These then came to the world for the plants of living for the end life for the many years in the calling of the mind. What he had been taken him for the onward way for the animal existence and more. Remember through the not for the life, vegetal, safe when he feels himself move and desire towards in the season and seeks sweet flowers and the babes that seeks for the breast and not know why. Against why, his creators why. There you know, uplifted from the inanimate. Man's estate from the from realm to realm and advancing into becoming intelligent and you can be keen of the wit. He is now for the no memory of the past abides with him and for the certain reason so with the changes to be it though he's falling asleep and God will not leave him not forgetfulness and waking. Will laugh to think what troubled dreams he had and one of his happy state of being. He could never forget and perceive that all those pains. Sorrow was so effective to sleep in the God for the vain, illusion for this world to seem lasting to know through this. Sleeper's dream who, when he appointed by day shall be dawn. Escapes from the darkening, the imagining, the haunting, and the turning with the laughter of the fancy with the grief and holding for the everlasting home. No reality and appearance of light can make the color invisible over night. The green was her vanishing for the sight. So see the life of the darkness and the mating and unknown and goddess, seeing all denies himself in eternity in the mortal eyes with the dark jungle and the tiger. Right, for the views of the lion spirit leaps to the lift. Me, the far of a journey, earth far, city to the view. Love, still, city I knew for the verse and knew not for the city's worth and turned to the folly but the wandering of the earth and though so sweet. Must need a pass with the cattle, graze for the green grass, maize for the leaf for the eating of the celestial meat for this is the divine, the voice to love, the rope to take the drum to the yet. You can find the pepper singing at the all fall, inhabiting for the snake, I crept without foot or wing, that wine, that was the laughter of the grace to sip. The rose that I tasted without the throat or lip. Spirit that goes for the journey for the long voice and said, when you go home for the traveling I made, and much I cried for the never mother and golden rain and the woman great rose. Even though I could shrink to be gone from here for me, ever so thin and pardon, did I fear that I spirit back up? Or maybe I should be in the night for these are next to vain. Maybe that this is the enchant for the mating and much for God, for the love God, for the enchantment, for the capturing the wild, for the ignorance and when my wings spread wide. Palace into the prison I swiftly sped. Until what I tell, I'll come. For the pen is broken down, done, maybe. Part of the life of the night rightly balanced for the cold sleepers 2,000 wherever I fall. Hundreds of thousands of years, maybe the dust springs, and floating and flying in wheel of the air, from the forgetting to ever being to the state. Sleep, migrate back to the spring loose, for the fourth branch time, spring for the crossing of the waiting room, wait for the huge pasture, nurse for the milk of the millennia. Everything with its difficult ways and only know the consciousness of decisions and personal memory too much small to place. Every human is being streamed for the night, loving nowhere for the dawn today, for the sun arms over the work. You find there's still no ways of passion. Guess it's more like the unseen.
awakening for the onward way for the enemy of existence no more. Remember, keep it not. For the wife, vegetative, safe when he feels himself move and desire towards in the season and seeks sweet flowers and the babes that seeks with the breast and not know why. Against why his creators why they know uplifted from man's estate from the firm mind to real dancing and becoming intelligent and moved to be keen with the wit. He is now for the moment of the past advised with him for the person reasons of the shade is in the bird. Though he's falling asleep and God will not leave him not forgetfulness and waking.
Guess it's more like the unseen progress of a man being the flute and music and Lee of iron then for the mountains to echo in the lead move to the defeat of her victory lions emblazoned high on the flags unfurled for the wind invisible for the sweeping through the first appeared for the realm and iron and mate these then came to the world for the plans of living for the end life for the many years in the calling of the mind what he had been taken for the onward way for the animal existence and more remember it or not for the life, vegetative, safe when he feels himself move and desire to towards in the season and seek sweet flowers and the babes that seek to the breast and not know why. Against why, his creators why, they know uplifted from the inanimate. Man's estate from the firm realm to realm and advancing into becoming intelligent and you can be keen of a wit. He is now for the no memory of the past abides with him and for the person reason souls and with the changes to be at bow. Though he's falling asleep and God will not leave him not forgetfulness and waking. We'll laugh to think what troubled dreams he had and one of his happy state of being. He could never forget and perceive that all those pains. Sorrow was so effective, the sleep in the guile for the vain, and losing it for this world to seem lasting and know that this sleeper's dream who, when he appointed by day shall be dawn. Escapes for the darkening, the imagining, and the haunting him, and the turning with the laughter, with the fancy, with the grief, and the holding for the everlasting home. And the reality and appearance of light that makes the color invisible over night. The green was her vanishing for the sight. So see the life of the darkness and the mating and unknown, and God is seeing all, denies himself in eternity in immortal eyes with the dark jungle and the tiger. Right, for the views, with the lion spirit leaps to the lift. Me, the far of a journey, earth far, city to the view. Loves those, city I knew for the verse and knew not for the city's worth, and turned to the folly for the wandering of the earth and those so sweet. Must need a pass for the cattle, graze for the green grass, maize for the leaf for the eating, and celestial meat for this is the divine, the voice to love, the word to tape, the drum to the yet, to confine the paper sing of the yet all fall, inhabiting for the snake I crept, without foot or wing, that wine, that was the laughter, the grace to sip, the rose to the taste of it without the throat or lip, spirit that goes for the journey for the long voice, and said, then to go home for the traveling I made, and much I cried for the never golden raiment and only great woes, even though I could shrink. To be gone from here for thee, never so thankful nor pardon. Did I fear that I spared thy go? Or maybe I should be in the night for thee, for these the neck, the vein. Maybe that this the enchant for the mating and much to the guile, for the love God, for the enchantment, for the capturing me a while, for the ignorance and the when my wings spread wide, palacing into the prison I swiftly sped. Until will I tell? I come. For the pen is broken, I'm dumb, maybe. Part of the loud for the night rightly balanced, for the cold sleepers do browsing wherever I fall. Hundreds of thousands of years, maybe the dust grains, and floating and flying in a wheel of an air, for the forgetting of the ever being with the state. Sleep, migrate back to the spring loose, for the fourth branch time. Spring for the crossing the waiting room, wake for the huge pasture, nurse for the milk of the millennia. Everything with its difficult ways and only knowing the consciousness of the decisions and personal memory too much small to place. Every human is being streamed for the night, loving nowhere for the during the day, for the sun after over and work. You can find this
Left in the road, hand bare to stare.
Guess it's more
Where did you go to
like
nowhere?
the
What did you have that to eat for nothing? No, you had to fast for the changing of the slow, for the huge, foolish project. Makes hues. Absolutely no difference in what people think of you. Die for the minerality to become the vegetable, for the animality and the becoming a man, and why you fear disappearance for. Next time I shall bring forth the wings and the feather like the angels and soaring higher than the angels, and whether you cannot imagine that shall be or not. Soul receives for the soul their knowledge, and therefore not the book for the tongue. Knowledge for the mysteries and comforting, emptiness of the mind, illumination of the heart. If thou activate, build again. See at every moment of the response, and be the action observed, and whatever is pure heart, and something is born to your consequence of every action. To be harsh like such, reply with for good from the ransom and spite whoever enters. Smite on the brow for this shrine for the love. Fool, you sheep for the coat, and rub that eyes for the image of the heart. Make yourself wrong for the self, for the one stroke, for the sword, for the never to trace, and the soft iron for the steel mirror.
Cast a squire rest off for the contribution of the star without a name. This marvelous departed gone to the unseen. What marvelous route did you take for the world becoming? Beating with the wings and feathers you broke for the free for the cage, and you're rising up to the sky and tame for the red soul, and you were prize falcon. Trapped by an old woman with the hard drummer's call for the flowing of beyond space and time. Love sick, nightingale with hue and flowing wrong owls. Came to the center rose garden, flow off to meet the rose. Long to the fleeting world cause you heal the ache. Finally you joined to the tide and you turned it like an arrow. Sped for the bow and you went straight to the bullseye for the bliss and phantom forgiving you false sighs and turned from the illusion of your journey. Land of the truth. Now the sun. Having to reach for the quill. Having to vanish you from this world, but you never have the time for you to go. Only heard. You better see the soul, but you buy look at all yours is the soul of souls and the seer for the old heart, wonderful bird I am. Seeking divine heights and the flapping of the wings and you smash pointed spears of your enemy. Flowers flee, autumn, but you are the fearless rose that grows amidst the freezing wind. Pouring down like rain of heaven, falling, fall on rooftop with the abyss and run into every direction, escape through the drain spout. Now the words are over for the pain, green is gone, and now you have gone to rest for the arms beloved. But get away from the falcon. Songbird putting with the owls and the smell for the odor of the garden used for something fermented for the tavern. Went arrow to the target. The bow for the time and place the man stares at the cemetery pointed the way, but you didn't became the light, became wonderful, the same as the famous. And why are you being engraved for the open heart for living in the center? Living in the center with the flying over the tank from the mist and becoming a rare bird and with one wing for the fear, and you hope to be autumn and rose crawling on the ground for the cold wind, rain on the roof and down and by the spout. Fast as it can taking the pain down to rest and rest. You found a friend to be with. He comes. Poor copies of heaven's angels and poor pictures molded in decay, and how although their beauty break and fall, rich of them could give life for the doing a there for that with the heart and idle woes and high disclosure for the accompaniment of the rapture with the ear and the glidest landscapes. Break listening shows and fake Paris, but it's only as we feel. Far away for the living foundations and you through brook and brimful to the main stand, bearing to the fountain, never die for these and foolish and ways of vain. Rightly know so whence for created things and doubt the rivers and you cease to flow down, sickness and silence with the everlasting springs. Farewell to the sorrow for the quiet mind, drink long and deep. Love is finally deemed for the channel empty and perchance by finding unfathomable dreams and streams in the moment that you can find this low worst world. Glass given for the lattice whereby you can find inspire for the steps.